Hey guys, good morning. It is early morning. It is around 7 o'clock in the morning. It's Saturday and everyone gets up around 8. So I have about 30 minutes to kind of complete this video and get breakfast going for everyone. And then we'll start our day around 9:30 for homeschooling. I do homeschool or provide instruction to my son who's in the 5th grade on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And Fridays after work, depending on if he needs reteaching or if he needs some assistance, or if we even go over corrections, or just watch some type of movie based on what we've learned throughout the week or the previous week, we'll do that on Friday after work when I get off of work. I do work full time, both me and my husband. So today's video is to just go over my planning process. It's going to be pretty long. Not sure if I'm going to do this in 1 or 2 videos, but we just started homeschooling full-time traditionally this academic school year, 2018-2019. Before then, I was doing after schooling and I was doing homeschooling during the summer. So again, in today's video, we're going to go over some of the things that I thought about when putting together our schedule and our routine and how I planned. We made the decision in March 2018 that we wanted to homeschool full time. So I used the months of March through June to go through my planning, research process and putting everything together. Of course, talking to my husband, getting his feedback, and also talking to my son and getting his feedback and getting some of his recommendations. Because remember, as homeschool mommies or dads or facilitators, we are guiding our children, right? We are here to provide them the resources that they need to ensure that they're fully engaged and they receive the information that they need to be successful in anything that they do. So during this planning process, during our journey, I did involve both my husband and my son just to make sure we were all on the same page in terms of the curriculum, the days that we're going to teach, the blocks that we're teaching in, the subjects, and even the times of day that we're going to teach. So again, I'm going to kind of go through that process. I'm a very detailed-oriented type of gal, so a lot of the things that I'm going to show you or talk about today may not be something you want to dive that deep into. But again, my mind is very logical, methodical, and process-oriented, so that's how I work. I'm also very project oriented. So you'll see in my planning process how I laid everything out. And I even created a foundation or template for me to use in the future years. And that's just so that I'm like on track. And I have something to refer back to at any point in time that I need some type of assistance, or I need to recall something, or if I don't want to forget a particular milestone or task or action that I need to complete in order for the next step to kind of go smoothly. So let me turn this camera around and let's get started. So to start off, what I first did was create a document that helped me outline how I wanted to plan my homeschool year. As you can see, this is dated in June 27th of this year, 2018. But I do have some markings on this document that I need to make changes to and reprint and put within my binder. This binder here is where I keep our subjects, our schedules, any routines, our goals, our mission statement, values, what we plan on teaching throughout the year by subject, and things of that nature. So it starts off by kind of showing me how we will conduct our school year and how it will be organized. We are doing year-round schooling, which is January through December, okay? Because this is the first year that we are homeschooling, we began in July. So July through December will be considered a year for us for this first year. And then in 2019, that's where we'll start this whole breakout. So 2019, January through December will be an actual school year as well. So we broke out the school year in quarters. We will have 4 quarters, and here are the months that fall within each quarter. What I also did was break out my process or procedures into categories. The get ready category, which is basically prepping, getting organized, taking inventory, assessing where my child stands for any particular subject, gathering last year's goals and objectives and course of study, looking at the district's, the school district's information in terms of what they think a child at the grade level that my child is in, what do they think they need to know at that particular stage. And again, I also ask my children, or my son at this time, what do you want to learn about next school year? Is there anything specific you don't want to do again? Is there any topics or subjects you want to bring in? So this is how I prepare for the following school year. And I already did this. I did this entire process that I'm about to talk to you today on from March through June. But for future school years, this is how I would like to break it out. I also put the months that I should start doing these various tasks. So the get ready prep part should occur within September and October. The get set portion is basically reflections. How did the previous school year go? How is the current school year going? That's the reflections. Assessments. If I took any state exams if I had my son take any state exams, as I told you in a previous video, we don't do tests or quizzes for the purpose of giving a grade. Now, I will have quizzes and tests just to assess him and determine if we need to go back or if we need to do something additional, but we do not provide those mechanisms for the point of giving or assigning or tracking grades, okay? So in this get set portion, this is where I kind of go to my Evernote, and I have Evernote notebooks. You can YouTube what Evernote is and how to utilize it. But I archive, I delete files, I review my notebooks within Evernote, which is an online tool to kind of determine if I need to do anything there. In my Evernote, what I normally do is I keep like a running list of our goals. I keep recordings. I do my foreign language in Evernote. If I'm ever teaching a topic and I record myself on that topic so that my son can utilize that as a reference, all those things are uploaded to Evernote, okay? I go over our behavioral and outcome-oriented goals and objectives. I identify any areas that I think he needs further assistance on. And I also research and shop curriculum. Okay, let me go back. As you can see, that process occurs periodically, but I want to make sure I focus on that during the months of October and through November. Okay. Again, so during that get ready period, I shop and research curriculum. I look at what I have within my home first before I make any moves or any purchases. Okay. The plan portion normally takes place within November through December. And the plan portion is where I create our upcoming school year's course of study. And I link our course of study, which is the topics and subjects we're going to learn. I link them to our objectives and our goals. Okay, I'm not going to teach him something that has nothing to do with our overall objective or goals. for our homeschool. I create any unit studies. I research any field trips or workshops around our area. I create, it says schedule here, but it should say routine. So I'll make a change there. So I create what our schedule or what our routine will look like. I, again, involve my spouse and the kids to kind of ensure they're involved in the planning. We determine what our days will be, our instruction days. We determine what independent work days will look like. I create any Netflix playlist, any PBS, YouTube, Amazon. I just create all my playlists around that time. If I have the books that I want, I will also research them at our library online and reserve them. I also set up any Quizlet accounts. That's what I use to do quizzes or reviews. Again, our quizzes and tests are not linked to grades. Grades are not tracked. They're not kept or anything like that. I just use that as reinforcement to help me understand if he's on track or not with a particular subject. I check on my subscriptions. If I have any payments coming due, I make those payments in advance, or I just put due dates within my calendar. That's our plan. We're just planning for the year. The go portion, that's in January. Again, our school year this year, because we decided to do it in March of 2018, we started in July of 2018. So normally we're going to do year round from January through December. So in January, this is where our first day of school is. And on our first day of school, I don't want to forget to take his, weight, shoe size, take a picture, clothing size, to kind of compare and document his growth throughout the year. I want to make sure he writes his name, school year. He writes some type of information on the sheet so I can look at his penmanship. I also ask him, how many vocabulary words do you want to learn this year? I ask him to write down 3 to 10 goals that he wants to meet during the school year. And throughout the school year, we actually go back to it. Maybe at the end of every quarter, we go back to those goals that he set for himself in the beginning of the school year, and we kind of ensure that he has progress. And during those review periods, that's when we'll remove goals, add goals, and things of that nature. Okay. And during the first month of school, that's when we will also, discuss what our year will look like. This is the time that I take with him to discuss what our vision is. I'll discuss with him what our days will look like. I actually video record him reading whatever goals he's created for himself, so that not only keeps track of his goals, but it also keeps track of his presentation skills and his oratorical skills, so that we can look at progress for years to come. I also discuss any homeschool rules or expectations. I do give him an information packet. And the information packet just says, welcome to this particular grade. It identifies some personal information that I don't want him to forget. It has all his username, passwords for all his educational online resources. It has emergency contacts, phone numbers, addresses. It also provides him his routines for any particular day. It describes what our expectation is for each of those subjects and things of that nature. I would show you what our packet looks like, but it has a lot of personal information on basically all pages. So I'm not going to show it to you, but it's basically, I would say I made it into like this size. It's this size, which is a little smaller than 5 by 7. And then we kind of flip through the book vertically. So instead of going horizontal, turning the pages like this, the pages flip up. So I hope vertically is the right thing, but the pages flip upward, and they're colorful and they outline a lot of, I think, good information. I also go over Evernote with him so he understands what topics and subjects will be on Evernote. We look at his agenda for the year, any tracking logs that we have, and I just help him throughout the first month of school go over all the administrative stuff. So that is what our setup looks like in terms of how we organize. So now that we have all that situated, let's go into how I execute how I execute the plan portion of my procedures document. So I just pull up a blank calendar online, and on my blank calendar, I mark off the days that we are not meeting. I have a little area at the bottom that serves as a key that basically color codes and says, hey, for these colors, this is what they mean. So yellow is the beginning of a quarter, orange is the end of a quarter, pink is my day off, like planning or just for me to do me, and no school, that looks like pink, but it's actually a light red, actually, but that's where there's no school. So as you can see, for this period 2018, for the entire month of June, public school ended for us in May of 2018. So I gave him the entire month of June off, basically. And we had our first day of school on the 27th. And that first day is where we did the whole why we're homeschooling. Let's take a look at the homeschool. We did a room tour. He was super excited. He saw all his new gadgets and books and resources and games, and he was just so super excited. So the first day actually took place it took place on Wednesday, and it took place on Friday, all our first day of school stuff. And then we actually did some work that Saturday. Okay. So in July, we took 2 weeks off. We went on vacation. In August, as you can see, we had no days off. However, on the 27th of August, he's going to get that day off. So since we're doing year-round homeschooling, I don't do anything special in terms of, I know some people every 6 weeks, they take the 7th week off if they year-round homeschool. We don't do that. We're going to take breaks when we need them, when they arise, okay? So although you'll see later in this video that my calendar, or not calendar, but my course of study is organized by weeks and dates, that does not mean we're going to perform all of our work or whatever during that specific time. Okay, so let's go here. September, as you can see, I gave myself a random mommy day. That's pink. That's just my day for planning. He's automatically going to get these 2 days, the 3rd and the 24th. They're just random days off. If life happens and we need to change those days to another day where he's not doing anything, then we'll do that. We're going to flow with it. This just gives me an outline. This just tells me during the month of September, I want to have 3 days off where we do nothing. No independent work, no homeschool, nothing at all. Nothing will be required or expected of anyone. So September, I want to have 3 of those days. October, 3 of those days. November, I want to have 4 of those days. And in December, the last day of the quarter, or the last day of school for the 2018 year, will be on December 16th. And as you can see, I gave him some days off. And I gave myself some planning days. The 19th, 22nd, and 23rd are my mommy days or my planning days. I say mommy planning because either I'm planning for something in terms of homeschool, or it's just my day off to do absolutely nothing associated with homeschool. So again, these days are not set in stone. We're going to let it flow. That just tells me that's the number of days in totality that we don't want to do any type of homeschooling. Just to let you know, we don't traditionally celebrate any pagan holidays. So in terms of Christmas and Thanksgiving, we don't celebrate those holidays as they are done traditionally in North America, but I do give him those days off. And the reason why we get those days off is because public school is off during that time period. And all of his friends that he used to go to school with are also off during those time periods. So it gives him an opportunity to go to winter camps or various camps that take place during that period of time, so that he can kind of have fun and hang out with his friends during those particular times of the year when there is no public school. So also, if you notice, I don't put the days off. The majority of the days off are not going to be on a Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday. And I try to do that because those are my instruction days. As you know, I work full time. I work on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So I don't want to impede on our instruction days. They're already limited to 3 days. And if I do instruct on Fridays, it's after work. So it's going to be maybe an hour and a half at the most that I do that. So normally I give him a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday for his day off, where he doesn't have to worry about independent work. Those are the days that he does independent work, his assignments that he has to complete, corrections, things of that nature. So again, I give him those days so that he can kind of have nothing to do that day. And if it's a whatever day where there's no school, yes, he can play non-educational games. He can watch non-educational TV as long as it's appropriate and approved. For as long as he wants. I say as long as he wants, but I'm not going to let him play for 4, 5, 6 hours straight. He can play for 2 hours, take an hour break, do something different, read, watch television, whatever, and he can go back to it. So he loves those days. Those days are a luxury for him. So that's how we do our planning. Okay. Now that you saw how we planned using a calendar, what I do is I take the information here on the from our calendar, and I just transfer it into a little document that I can keep and have with me. And within this document, this is for the 2018 year, again, July 2018 through December 2018. I organize it by providing weeks, and I put the dates that week falls into. Okay. And then I have it organized by topic, or this said math, but I don't know how it got deleted, but this is math, Bible, English language arts and reading, African studies, science, electives 1. Our elective 1 loop is history, geography, and government. Our electives 2 loop is writing, logic, literature, and some other stuff. Our electives 3 loop is life skills and enrichment. And then I have a column for notes. So again, let's go with an example. Let's go to week 4. So do we follow these perfectly? No. Why is that? Because we may be on week 4 of homeschool, and it says week 4 is the week of July 22nd, 2018. But because we follow a routine or rhythm and not a set schedule where we have milestones or actions or events associated or linked with a specific time, we can get off course. But I'm okay with that, because that's the beauty and flexibility of homeschooling. You can catch up whenever you want to, or you don't catch up at all. You just go with the flow of things. You go with the flow of your child's learning capacity, and you explore and you use your time as opportunities to be inspired to do other things, or to be inspired to be open to take advantage of better things that come along. Okay. So again, example, let's say week 4. Week 4, we're supposed to be Week 4 is during the week of July 22nd. And during that week, our goal is in math to be on the topic of multiplication and division of decimals. For Bible, we should be doing some type of activity with the book of Job. In language arts, we should be doing preposition. In African studies, we're studying pre-colonization. In science, we should be doing light and energy. For loop 1, as you can see, we're not doing anything for loop 1. And that's going to be from July 2018 through December 2018, we're not doing anything in loop 1 for these areas, okay? We are doing a little bit of geography, but we're mixing in geography with our independent work. For loop 2, for week 4, we should be doing free writing. For week 4 in electives 3, we should be reviewing our 2018 vision board. So the vision board we created in January for the year, we should be reviewing that, talking about it, and also talking about what are goals and setting goals. Although my son knows what goals are and he knows the differences between, short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals, this just gives us a reminder to do a refresher. And this also tells me under my notes section, I put on here a project I want to begin during week 4. So I wrote down, we want to do a consumer math project, and I wrote down what type of project I would like to do. Okay. So that's how we break it down. I did that for the entire 2018 school year, and I also did it for the entire 2019 school year. But how did I figure out what I wanted to do for every particular subject? Well, basically all I did was pull out the curriculum for everything that I use. So if I am using, let's say for ELAR, language arts, for grammar, if I'm using first language lessons or Shirley Method or Michael Clay Thompson or whatever curriculum I'm using, I'm looking through the book and I'm looking at the number of chapters. If the book has 30 chapters, you can either divide your chapters by weeks, or you can go a little deeper. You can look at your chapters and you can say, okay, the majority of these chapters are pretty long and they say it may take 45 minutes per chapter. I'm not doing language arts for 45 minutes. I may do it for 30 minutes or 25 minutes at the most, okay? And let's say the curriculum says you are to use this 5 days a week, and 5 days a week, it's 45 minutes a day. But for us, we do language arts 3 days a week. So then I would say, okay, 3 days a week at, let's say, 30 minutes per day, instead of those 30 chapters taking me 30 weeks, it may take me 45 weeks to do that. So then I'll divide the chapters into 45 weeks, and then I'll look at the topics, and I may do one topic every day and a half. So however that divides into, then I will write the titles of the chapters within these blocks here. So for example, whatever chapter this is, it's going to be on prepositions. Whatever chapter this is, the next chapter, it's going to be on prepositional phrases, object of the preposition, pronouns. For this at a glance document here, I don't put chapter numbers on purpose. I want to know the actual lesson being taught. That's why it's a course of study. That's why it's a course of study at a glance. It tells me what we are going to study for that particular subject, for that particular period of time. Okay. And again, this just helps me keep track. So if I know I'm on week 7 and that falls on the week of August 12th, and this is what we're supposed to be doing during that week, but I am on, week 5 for math, or week 6 for language arts, or I may be on week 10 for science, right? It falls differently. That's why I keep these checks here to kind of keep me on track. And then at the end of the quarter, what I'll do is I'll go into my document and I'll look at all the areas that has been checked off. I'll look at all the areas that have not been checked off, and then I will make a plan of action. Are we going to catch up? Does he know the information and I can just skip it? Do I need to reteach something? Why did I fall behind? Hey, and then for the next set of 10 weeks, I'll look into adding some of the missed assignments from the first set of 8 weeks, or we'll skip it based on if he knows it or not, based on what's going on. As you can see here, I only print out 10 to 11 weeks at a time. because I don't want to look at every single document. It doesn't serve a purpose for me. Again, I like to look at a few weeks at a time and stay on track. And then once we're close to week 11, I'll go ahead and print out week 12 through the next 10 weeks. And then I will compare this first set of weeks with the one I just printed. And then like I said earlier, then I'll go back and forth and figure out how we're going to fine tune the upcoming week's schedule, if I need to push anything back or add anything to it. So that's how we do that. What I also want to show you is how I then break out what we're learning even further. Let me show you. So this is how I break it out even further. And again, guys, my mind is very process oriented. It's very project oriented. So I like to see things in great detail, but I may not use all of the information. I like to see things at a glance, and I like to see the details, or I like to have those details available for me. So remember in this document here, how I said for Bible, here are the topics we're learning. I like to just see the topics, right? These topics help me do additional research to find out if I need to get any additional resources. It also helps me to plan our week, print out items and things of that nature, right? This gives me the topics. But if I go into my Bible section of my agenda or my folder, I can see what chapter are these different things associated with. If it's a curriculum, if it's not a curriculum, what resource am I pulling out or using for these things? So let's go here. For Bible, as you can see here, here are those topics that are all throughout my year at a glance. And here are all the scriptures that go with it. If it's a web page, if it's a curriculum that I'm using, if it's a particular scripture, I will organize it that way. For math and science are treated a little differently. For math, because I like to use a lot of resources, I put out for math. So let's go back to here. Sorry about that. My battery was going dead. Okay. So let's say for math, remember in math, I said, we're going to learn about, as an example, I used week 4, and I said, for week 4, we should be doing a multiplication and division of decimals, right? So in my math area, let me just pull this out. Hold on, guys. My phone is charging, and I'm trying to work with one hand. But it might be easier for me to just take it out. Okay, so for math, in the area, decimals, right? Decimals, multiplication, and division of decimals here. Here are all the curriculums that I'm using. We're using Saxon Math 7-6, which is our main curriculum. Math Mammoth, Great Debates videos or YouTube list. There's our pre-algebra math books that I have. I use Abeka. I currently have Abeka 4, 5, and 6. Only the teacher's manual. I use Abeka to teach. So when I'm teaching a topic, may it be new or old, Abeka is the curriculum that I use to teach or give examples on the board. Additional resources are normally books with word problems that we have. We use Beast Academy, Life of Fred, and Living Math. I forget the entire name, but it's a Charlotte Mason method or approach for math. And I think it's called Living Math. My son actually likes it. I was surprised. Okay, so let's go back. Week 4, we said we're doing decimals. We're dividing and multiplying decimals. So this says here, if I'm using Math Mammoth, here are the chapters and page numbers. If I'm using videos, here is the video, the Great Debates video, lesson 9. If I'm referring him to my YouTube playlist, he's to go to the decimal playlist. For our pre-algebra books, this is the book that he's using with the page numbers. For my instructional teaching days, These are the page numbers in the Abeka books that I'm instructing from. If I have him do word problems, then here are the books we're going to use with the page numbers that deal with decimals. For Beast Academy and Life of Fred, they are not. Beast Academy and Life of Fred are not coordinated or aligned to whatever I'm teaching. This just gives him a guide that says, during a particular time, you should be on Beast Academy, this book, this chapter. I need to correct this. He's not in 3. He's actually in 4. For Life of Fred, this just gives us a guide. He should be in the ice cream book. And for the Living Math, this is the level 5. Here are the lessons that are associated with the decimals, multiplication, and division. This is broken out for every single topic that we're teaching, that I'm teaching him, or we're going to go over in the 5th grade. Another example is, let's say, for science. For science, when we do the light, so for example, light under science, that was during the first week of school. So for light, when I go to my science document, I'm telling him it's lesson 1. If we're on refraction, then refraction is lesson 14 in this book. Okay. So for science, we do Barren Builders, Science in the Beginning. We have Apologia, Exploring Astronomy, Apologia, Exploring Anatomy and Physiology, and Human Body Detectives. And as you can see, for our science, it covers us for 5th and 6th grade. And what I also did, if I, for example, was studying light, and light was in the Barren books, lesson 1, and let's say light was covered in another one of these science books, which it's obviously not, but if it was, I would put the lesson for that book. And then during the week, we would have 2 places to reference for that particular topic. And again, I do that. All of this that I showed you, I do it for every single subject: Bible, ELR, African Studies, Science, electives 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's how I plan and organize our subjects for the year. The last thing I wanted to show you in terms of the planning portion of the year is we come up with books, okay, his reading list. I created a video that showed you our read alouds and our independent, or his independent reading books for the year. What I do is I just write those down. So I write down the books that he's expected to read aloud, and I write down the books that we're going to do together. So here's his independent reading list, and here are the read alouds that we're going to do together. And I try to notate any African American books in one color and any global citizenship book in a different color. And global citizenship just means non-African American, non-European. So we're going to focus on books by Asian authors, Hispanic authors, or books that have Asian characters, Middle Eastern characters, Hispanic characters, any other character or author that is not white or black. Okay. And also, as part of our homeschool, my husband and I got together and we said, hey, let's come up with a list of books that we want all our children to read for various reasons. May it be for spiritual reasons, may it be for character or growth, may it be for enrichment reasons. What books have we read, or what books are out there that are age appropriate that we want our kids to kind of dive into and read? Here are the lists that we came up with. Can these change? Yes. Can we add to it? Yes. So what we've done is, as you can see on the right side, we have the age groups. So based on the age, here are the books that we would like for our child to dive into and read at that time. So from age 8 until they're out of this house, we want them to spiral through the Bible and the Apocrypha. For age 10 through 11, we want them to read From Babylon to Timbuktu and A Young People's History of the U.S. and so forth. So as you can see, like when between ages 15 and 17, we want them to read Souls of Black Folk, Miseducation of a Negro, The ISIS Papers, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, Autobiography of Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Barack and Michelle Obama, Black Panther Movement. And we want him to actually read the lyrics of certain artists. Okay. And I find that a lot of these artists, may it be Black artists, Hispanic artists, white artists, whatever, I find that a lot of the music, if you remove the beats, for the ones that make sense, I like conscious music. My husband likes conscious music as well. Lyrics that are about something, lyrics that have meaning. So particularly, we want him to read lyrics from certain songs from these artists here. And we might include other artists as well. They don't only have to be Black. However, the topics that we've chosen are racism, injustice, and just basic consciousness. And I found some other lyrics from non-Black artists that have great music about humanity and kindness and love. So we want him to read those lyrics and understand that music is not all about beats. Music is not all about these silly words that people put together that mean absolutely nothing. And they call it art, but that's just our opinion. So let's go to age 14 through 16. We put or the equivalent because if we can't find that book or we change our mind, something that deals with these topics. So between these ages, 14 to 16, as an example, Who Moved My Cheese and Who Moved My Cheese for Teens, John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Sean Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. They have one for adults too. The Mentor Leader by Tony Dungy, 14 through 16 again. I don't know why I separated these two columns. I need to redo this and make it one. But Robert Kiyosaki books, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, The Total Wealth Choice, Power of Broke, Teen Entrepreneur Toolbox. That's by Dave Ramsey as well. So again, here are all the books here that we want our children to read within these age groups. As a family, this is what we decided on, meaning me, my husband. This is what we decided on. So guys, that's the end of this video. I just wanted to again show you guys how I planned and organized our homeschool. I wanted to show you how the current or upcoming school year. And again, I break it out into get ready, get set, plan, and then we go. So hopefully you found something of benefit. So hopefully you found something that was useful within this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, well, not concerns, but if you have any questions or comments, or if you want me to provide some additional information on a particular topic that I hit today, I would be more than happy to do that for you guys. Let me show you one more thing. I also keep this with me in my folder. This is the folder that I'm referring to that I keep all of our stuff in that relates to planning, organizing, our mission, and so forth. But within there, I keep these documents here. And these are like little note cards so that I won't forget. Okay. So this just reminds me of note-taking skills. Throughout homeschooling, my son, I do have him take notes while I'm lecturing or teaching. So this just gives me a reminder of the different types of ways that one can take notes, okay? I also keep this as a reminder to myself. Before I teach any topic or before any learning begins, okay, I must ensure, or even before purchasing a curriculum, I must ask myself these questions. Why am I teaching blank? What does my child need to learn about blank? What value does learning about blank bring to my child? How does teaching or learning blank benefit our homeschool mission and values? Okay, everything should go back to your homeschool mission, values, and goals. If you are teaching something or bringing something in your homeschool or buying something for your homeschool that does not align to your goals and objectives and what you set forth in your homeschooling foundation, why are you doing it, right? Next, how will my child use blank, whatever I'm teaching, whatever that curriculum is, whatever they're learning, whatever the outcome is in life? And what is the overall intent and purpose of teaching or learning, whatever blank is? Okay. Also, these are just reminders for myself on the first day and last day of school, not to forget to do these things, which is like I told you earlier, taking his weight, writing down goals, talking about vision and what his vision board will look like, going over the information packet, going over Evernote, his agenda. This is just a reminder for me not to forget, because I will forget as we get busy. Again, I'm a project manager at heart, so I don't want to forget these things as well. I want to teach my child good project management skills. I want to teach him good organizational skills and how to keep track and how to set a goal and maintain it, how to keep organized. So these are just reminders for myself to incorporate some of these things throughout the school year so that he can be project oriented, which I believe is a wonderful, wonderful skill set to have. It will take you so far in life. Project management or organizational skills, or understanding how to set priorities, understanding how to prioritize different things in your life. I think those are skill sets that are so useful. So as part of enrichment, I definitely printed this out because I don't want to forget to incorporate these types of skills within our homeschooling journey with my son. So again, I hope this video was of benefit. I hope it was useful. And as always, guys, you make it a great, great, fantastic, awesome day.